sadness from wherever you've been. Come broken-hearted, let rescue begin. Come find your mercy, oh sinner, come kneel. Earth has no sorrow that heaven can't heal. So lay down your burdens, lay down your shame. All who are broken, lift up your face. Oh, wanderer, come home. You're not too far. So lay down your hurt, lay down your heart, come as you are. There's hope for the hopeless and all those who've strayed. Come sit at the table, come taste the grace. There's rest for the weary.
I had a pretty easy childhood. Nothing stands out that, life changed or anything like that. I grew up in a family that, loved each other. We sat down every night, had a meal together. It was always me and my brother and my cousin. We always out in the yard. We might be a mile, 2 miles back in the woods, doing things that you just can't do today. We had a normal childhood. Grew up in church. Was always in church. If there was a reason my parents weren't there, that I had aunts and uncles and grandmas that made sure I was there or that I could go with. We had a pond behind the house, and we thought we were slick. We had buzz cuts, so we would get naked and we'd swim in the pond. Our parents wouldn't know because we'd come home, our clothes would be dry, our hair would be dry, and we thought we were smarter than them, but pretty sure they probably knew the whole time, but we thought we were doing something. I grew up in church. I was there just about every time the doors opened. Growing up in church, I'm not gonna say it hurt me more than it helped me, but it confused me. I learned the lingo. I learned how to put on it from everybody. I know how to walk the walk and talk the talk, but out on my own or away from church, it wasn't the same. There was times I made decisions, and I feel like those decisions came from growing up in church and knowing what I needed to do, and so that's why I did it. It was just became empty prayers. That's all it was empty prayers. I was playing in the band and going and sharing the gospel with other people. There was still an emptiness. There's just something that just wasn't right. I think I was going to try and teach others about. I wasn't even sure about myself. There came time, and I guess we all reached a certain point in our life where we went different directions, and we didn't, the band kind of fell apart. I faded apart. Those things came later in our teenage years, where we started running around, and started getting involved in other things, and other opportunities presented themselves, and I don't guess I would say opportunities, but
all this pain, I wonder if I'll ever find my way. I wonder if my life.
it was the first day of classes at Northwest. She was walking to class and I saw her. And after I got out of class, I just stood at the entrance of the building and waited for her to come out. I told my buddy to wait with me. I was like, man, you have to see this girl. So Jay came out, we fell in behind him, and we were talking about classes in which what classes I had this semester and whatnot. And she heard me say I had history, and she just happened to have the same class and the same teacher. And it just went from there. From that day, I believed in love at first sight, because that's truly what it was for me anyway. She is, still is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. She's gonna kill me for saying all this.
Out of chaos, life is being found in you.
We hit it off pretty good. We started hanging out. We started doing things that we shouldn't have done, and we were just in that point of our lives where, we were heading the wrong direction. We began to it's embarrassing to talk about now, man. I can remember, like it was yesterday, I was headed to hang out with some friends of mine, and I got a phone call, and she told me, she said, I think I'm pregnant. It was like the world just stopped. So we turned around, I turned my car around and went back and picked her up, and we went straight to the doctor's office, where they confirmed that she was pregnant. And you talking about the weight of the world just all of a sudden falling on you. You're in college, and you got no worries, and everything's easy, and the hardest thing you have to do is get up and go to class, and all of a sudden your world's just hit with a child, and being a man, you feel like you have to take on everything. The weight of the world's on you. And I was working at Hibbett Sports. I was working 12 and a half hours a week. And I went to my boss and I told him, what was going on. Told him I was going to be having a baby. And he acted all excited, but instead of giving me more hours, he cut me down to 9 hours a week. And you're talking about stress. How am I going to provide? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Ever since I met her, I knew that I wanted to marry her. Not sure if she felt the same way, but you know, we started to talk. You know, we knew from, you know, the way we were raised, and you know, we knew what we needed to do to. We knew that we needed to get married. So we did. And shortly after we got married in April. Then August, our baby girl was born, Riley Elizabeth. You know, it's funny how God, 'cause I don't at all think that was what God had planned for us. That's not the road that He wanted us to take, but He took something, He took sin and He made it beautiful. You know, after she came, you know, life was good. You know, yes, it was hard. It was stressful, but I was so proud of her. You know, she's beautiful. She's everything I ever, you know, imagined. You know, my kid being. Not long after she was born, I was offered a job in Oxford. So we packed up and we moved to Oxford. I had a pretty good job, and you know, Maggie had she had a job interview coming up, and you know, it just seemed like things were falling into place and things were going in the right direction. Everything was going good. We were settling in. We just celebrated Riley's first birthday, August 9th. October the 15th, 2011. You know, it's just like any other day. I had to wake up and go take care of the animals that I took care of, and just do my workly duties that I had to do every day. I got back home that morning around, I guess it was 8:30 or so, I guess. Me and Riley went out in the yard to play, and the neighbors came around the corner. It was just about the only neighbors that we talked to at the time, and you know, we were actually supposed to go to a football game with them that day and hang out with them, and Riley was going to go stay with my parents while we were there. I was standing there at the window talking to them about, you know, what we needed to do for the game, or if we needed to bring anything or whatnot. And during that time, I had thought that my daughter went back up to the house to her mom. But she didn't. She was standing in front of the car, and as they pulled off to pull in their driveway, they ran over her. She never had a chance. You know, how could it be that you know, just a little over a year ago, the same hands that held her as we welcomed her into the world be the same hands that a little over a year later that would hold her as she stepped into eternity. Just go inside and you get in it and you can see her again right now.
I'm so confused.
I can remember the day of the funeral. Everything was such a blur. But there were certain things that stuck in my head that, you know, looking back now was absolutely, you know, a God thing. One of the things that several people told me is like, because they grew up with me, they watching me grow up was, you know, you're gonna be able to see your baby grow again. But every time somebody said that, there was something that told me, you know, I didn't know. The following week, October 24th, I went back to work, try to, you know, get back in a routine, try to find some normalcy. I was cleaning the horse stalls like I did it every morning. I can remember, and it's a God thing. I can remember cleaning the stalls and all of a sudden, you know, my legs started to shake and it started to shake so bad I couldn't even stand. I fell to my knees and, you know, I was just crying. And I cried out to God, please just save me. And he did. Of all places, a horse stall. It took it's hard to say, but it took the death of my daughter to make me realize, looking back, I could see that he gave us her to save us. So me and my wife, we were on a path to nowhere. When she was born, we started, you know, to do better. We weren't perfect, but and then he ultimately saved us when he took her from us. This past October, it's been 5 years since she passed away. I became so secluded. You know, I completely shut down. You know, trying to deal with all these things that have come with her passing. You know, now I can think back and, you know, I got saved in a horse stall. You know, how am I going to forget that? How, you know, the devil's not going to ever be able to tell me anything. And I can take him back to the horse stall. You know, I know God, he knew that I was hurting. He knew that I needed him. Because he was the only one that, there's no doubt in my mind that he carried me. You know, like, there was no doubt. I could feel it. You know, I could feel his presence. wasn't until recently that you know, the preacher's been preaching the life of Joseph. I think God gave him those sermons just for me. How can I be the husband that I need to be? How can I be the dad that I need to be for my son now, and you know, the little one that we have on the way? You know, how can I be enough for them if, you know, if I continue to hold on to these things, if I can, you know, continue to let it rule my life? You know, I just give it to him. I've been trying to do it on my own for too long. It ain't got me anywhere. This was a couple of weeks ago. My wife and my son had went to bed. After he fell asleep, I got back up and went in to the kitchen and, you know, was sitting at the table by myself. And, you know, I sat there and I prayed and I wept for my family and for myself. I told God, you know, I've had enough. I don't want to live like this anymore. Lord God, it's going to take you to pull me out of this hole. It's going to take you to restore my joy. And he's answered that. You know, he's working in my life. There's no doubt. Yeah, it's time. It's time to step up. It's time to lead. I haven't been doing that. And I know it's time because I've been praying for it for so long. And it hadn't happened. And I feel like this is God's time, and it's, you know, it's what He wants. It's what has to be done. I have a desire, you know, to spend time in prayer. I have a desire to have a walk with God, be in His Word. I'm not sure where He's leading us, but I'm excited. And I'm willing to go where He's going to take us. The fact that I'm sitting here sharing my story is proof, you know, that His grace is enough. Because without Him, I wouldn't be here. There's just no doubt about it. I'm Josh Farrow, and His grace is enough.